Hello and welcome to the World Food Programme's Innovation Pitch Night. This is really an exciting event that we're celebrating today here with USAID and also our Region Bureau from Nairobi. Now, what we are seeing here is really exciting because it's the first collaboration with our region Bureau of East Africa, the region here. And my name is Bernard Kovac, the head of the World Food Programme's Innovation Accelerator. It's my great pleasure to have you here and actually introduce you to what this is all about and why we are talking about the most exciting innovations that you will see in the hour that's just about to come. Now, if you're following us online, which all of you are today because of the pandemic, please use the hashtag #DisruptHunger at WFP Innovation, at WFP Kenya, and USAID Saves Lives. As this is a collaboration, we're really grateful for USAID support. And I'm also looking forward to see the first TikTok, Instagram stories, or whatever you want to use to actually advertise the great innovations that you're seeing here. Now, why are we talking about hunger? Now, the challenge that we're facing is because of conflict, because of climate change, and most recently COVID-19, we see a reversing in recent hunger trends. Now, what that means is that the need for innovation has become even more severe. So what we're seeing today is the most exciting startups and innovations that can help us actually get to the next level here. Now, as World Food Programme, we have just been humbled with the Nobel Peace Prize, which actually means a lot to us as an organization, but even more to the 690 million hungry people out there, because their story, their problem is back out there in the global spotlight. And if you want to find out more about WFP's use of innovations and technology, how we enable this response, check out wfp.org/enablers, and we have background stories on some of the most exciting innovations that you'll find there. We as WFP Innovation Accelerator couldn't do our work to identify, support, and scale innovation without the support of our numerous partners. As I said already in the beginning, USAID is the sponsor of this particular program, but also one of our multi-year partners, and we're also grateful for all the other multi-year partners who are supporting us. In particular, the German government in Bavaria, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, and for the Regional Innovation Hub in East Africa, it's also the Danish government, who has stepped up with multi-year support. So thank you very much for this. Now, what we are doing, and this is just a snapshot, as an accelerator globally, we're looking for the most exciting innovations. We identify them, then typically run a one-week training program that we call Innovation Bootcamp. And this is number 32 that we're seeing here actually. And in our sprint support, we provide up to $100,000 of cash, hands-on support, and connections to our field offices, with the ultimate goal of reaching this scale-up pathway, which is the 14 projects that are right now scaling. Now, this has been so successful that a lot of other partners have actually approached us, and we want to share this knowledge also. So we are running programs for the Humanitarian Grant Challenge, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for primary healthcare, and also UNFPA, the UN Digital Solutions Center. And also now, as we will hear in a minute, the Regional Innovation Hub. Now, the 14 scaling innovations. Why are we excited about this? Because that's the ultimate goal. We hope that each of the innovations that we're seeing today could be the next social impact unicorn. And to that example, I just want to highlight Share the Meal. It's actually just received the award as a best app from Google and also from Apple. And if you want to check it out, so Share the Meal, you can, with a touch on your smartphone, you can share your meal, just 80 cents, feeds a child for a day. And even Tim Cook actually announced Share the Meal in his address, actually announcing the winners of 2020. Now, clearly, this is something that it is already successful. So 91 million meals have been shared by this. Through the app of Share the Meal by over 3 million people. But think about like all the impact that we can achieve through innovations, through startups, through the ingenuity of the people that you're gonna see following this. Now, with no further ado, I would like to give the word to our sponsor of today's program. So from USAID, let me introduce Amy Tohill-Stoll, who is the Deputy Assistant to the Administrator at USAID's Bureau for Humanitarian Assistance. Amy, over to you.
Thank you, Bernard, for that warm welcome. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who is joining today's virtual event. I am extremely happy to be here this morning to participate. I've been witness to innovation accelerators in the past and know firsthand the value and the potential that local solutions can bring to help us address some of the world's most intractable humanitarian and development challenges in the world. At USAID and in the Bureau for Humanitarian Assistance, our mission is simple. We work to provide life-saving humanitarian aid to help the world's most vulnerable people prepare for crises, to recover from them, and to transition away from relief to self-reliance. And as you know, as you just heard from Bernard, the frequency, scale, and complexity of crises have significantly increased in the past decade. And the world's humanitarian situation is now dramatically worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic, which has exacerbated humanitarian needs, including food assistance requirements, and affected coping mechanisms of the world's most vulnerable. As humanitarian emergencies evolve, we must evolve as well. Now more than ever, humanitarian organizations need to adapt and innovate to make programs more effective. We're continuing looking to find ways to improve how we work and to fulfill our broader mission as humanitarian needs outpace financial resources during this unprecedented time. And this is why USAID is thrilled to be supporting WFP and the WFP Innovation Accelerator. USAID's work with WFP extends back actually to the 1960s, and I'm proud to say that USAID has remained the largest donor of WFP throughout the years, working together hand in hand to provide emergency food assistance around the world. We're proud of WFP's recent recognition as Nobel Peace Prize laureate, which is a reminder to us all that hunger, especially in the face of the global pandemic, is a growing concern. In fact, more than 113 million people are expected to face crisis-level food insecurity this year alone, which is a 25% increase than what was anticipated prior to the pandemic. It takes all of us, and especially our innovative ideas, to reverse this negative trend that we're now facing. For example, USAID is supporting eShop, which enables people in Somalia to use a dedicated mobile app to comfortably shop from their authorized WFP retailer. They can select and view the products they want, to compare prices and access deals and bargains, putting purchasing power directly into the hands of those that we seek to support and in a safe manner during our current COVID environment. USAID support is helping eShop scale and further expand its reach. And this is just one of the many promising actions underway as part of this partnership to improve the outcomes of our assistance and empower beneficiaries. The 10 innovators that you'll hear from today are also doing important work to bring new and creative approaches to disrupt hunger and to bring critical aid to those in need. I also want to recognize that today's pitch event will highlight a number of innovators from East Africa, and we look forward to the role that WFP Nairobi Innovation Hub will have in further accelerating new ideas within the region. While USAID and WFP believe in the transformative power of investing in innovation, the piloting, the testing, and the scaling of new ideas can't be done alone and in isolation. Engaging local communities and supporting locally led solutions is essential to ensure that new ideas meet the needs of target populations. Moreover, engaging directly with local organizations and local innovators empowers those that we seek by promoting self-reliance. And I also want to take a moment here and also acknowledge that innovation requires the development of new partnerships and the establishment of new networks to finance and scale creative ideas so that their impact can be realized. And we're excited today to also welcome investors, donors, NGOs, and others to learn about the new solutions and ideas that are being presented and how they can help us to improve the effectiveness of humanitarian programming. The 10 innovators that you'll hear from have spent the last several weeks fine-tuning and troubleshooting their proposed projects and working with humanitarian and business experts to position themselves for the additional support and resources that are needed to take their innovative ideas to the next level. As you listen to each of these exciting projects, I encourage you to reach out to the WFP Innovation Accelerator to provide feedback, comments, or ideas with the innovators. It's only together that we'll be able to collectively work to achieve zero hunger by 2030. And to the innovators that are presenting today, we're excited to hear from each of you about your project ideas, and we look forward to continuing to support and engage with you on your journeys as you help to make the world a better place. So congratulations to all of you on your achievements to date, and best wishes for this Innovation Accelerator event. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amy, for the warm welcome, and also to encourage the audience. As you're watching this, think about which of the innovators, startups, or companies are you most excited about? And maybe you want to actually support them. Maybe you have ideas how they can be more effective and reach the goal of zero hunger. Now, with no further ado, let's give the word to Michael Dunford, Regional Director for Eastern Africa of the World Food Programme, with a welcome from the East Africa Bureau and also the Innovation Hub. Michael, over to you.
Jumbo, Bernard. How are you? And welcome to everyone to Nairobi, where I'm standing at the moment. I see there are over 360 people online, so that's a fantastic outcome and attendance for our very first East African pitch event. We would have loved to have been able to do this with you in person. We really would, but of course, because of COVID, we've had to adapt. We've had to innovate. And I think based on what I'm hearing, particularly from the boot camp last week, the innovation has gone very well. Amy, thank you very much for the kind words, and particularly for the support of this event, but also for the wonderful support that we get from the US government implementing activities across Eastern Africa. Within the Regional Bureau of East Africa, there are 10 countries, and we really do cover the spectrum of humanitarian and development activities. These are countries that include Sudan and South Sudan, Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Uganda, and there are others as well. And as you can imagine, when you hear that and see that list, we have some of the most biggest challenges addressing food security, but equally, I think we have some of the greatest opportunities. Unfortunately, although only 4% of the world's population resides in this region, it's estimated that 20% of the acutely hungry people reside in East Africa. So clearly, there is enormous demand for the support of WFP and its partners. We estimate that this year, because of predominantly conflict, and I think this is one of the reasons why WFP was recognized with the prize last week, but also because of a variety of different climatic shocks, and of course, COVID as well. We estimate that almost 50 million people will be hungry in this region going into next year. So we need to come up with new ways of addressing their needs, of new ways of reaching the challenge that we all face in trying to achieve zero hunger. To bridge this gap, we have launched today this innovation hub here in Eastern Africa. And thank you very much to all of you for joining. Why did we want to do this? Well, predominantly, we want to be able to tap into the local knowledge. We want to be able to tap into the local content. And we see East Africa as a very rich innovation ecosystem. We want to be closer to the field, and we want to ultimately take the best innovations, the best ideas, the best examples, and take them to scale. And there's no better place to do that than here in East Africa. We're very optimistic that this innovation hub that is actually supported by the government of Denmark, and I'd like to thank and recognize the Danish contribution, is a key element in what we in WFP within East Africa will be doing into the years ahead. We often like to describe East Africa as the region that best defines WFP, and I think as a forward-thinking, innovative agency, we needed to have a regional hub here based in Nairobi. We've got a number of good examples, and we'll be hearing about them during the course of the day. Of the 10 pitches that you will be hearing, 6 of them are originating here in Eastern Africa from 4 different countries. So we're well represented on today's event. I'm confident of the success of this hub. I'd like all of you to join us on this journey, not only today, but into next year and beyond. I mentioned the support we're receiving from Denmark, but I'd like to also grow the number of investors and donors in support of this hub, because I think really we are on the cusp of something truly transformational. And I'd like to encourage others of you who are interested in seeking us out to better understand what is planned and to see how we can collaborate into the future. I think Amy said it very importantly. We can only do this through partnerships. And there's a whole range of different types of partnerships, be it either the private sector, the innovation ecosystem, traditional donors, and everything in between. So with that, I'd like to get started. I'd like to see some of these innovation pitches. I'm wishing all the teams the best of luck for tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing how we can build the work of the East African Innovation Hub into the future. So thanks very much, Bernard.
Thanks so much, Michael. And I am handing over straight to Regina and to actually take us through as master of ceremony to the rest of the pitches. So I'm really excited about this.
Okay, thank you very much, Bernhard. Yeah, I'm hosting you today, the rest of the session, where we're going to see 10 marvelous pitches. I'm head of innovation projects at the Innovation Accelerator, and I'm hosting you together with my colleague Magana, who is the private sector partnerships lead from the Innovation Hub for Eastern Africa. So let's move on. We have spoken already about 10 teams. So you're going to see pitches from 10 different teams. And how did we come up to those teams? In the summer, we launched an innovation challenge and we have received 793 applications. Just amazing. I think that was the highest number we ever achieved. They were coming from 95 countries, and it was a tough way in order to go to 10 teams. So we had a rigorous selection process in order to identify those teams. These are internal WFP innovator teams, and they are external startups ventures. They are coming now from Canada, Turkey, Sudan, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Kenya, South Africa, India, and Bangladesh. And what can you expect now? So we're going to start with the first 5 pitches. Then I'm handing over to the fireside chat where we have some distinguished speakers. So I'm already very curious about that. And then we have the second part with another 5 pitches. And how does it work? So every pitcher has 3 minutes, not more. This is a quick fire, very fast, to the point. And then we have a Q&A session. So what you can see at the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A icon. So if you have any question to the team, please pop it in there. And my colleague Magana is going to take the question and feed into the teams. Yeah, and now let's get started with the first 5 pitches. And I'm very happy to welcome Anne from Lucky Ironfish from Canada. Anne, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Regina. Hello, my name is Anne Pringle. I'm the Programs and Impact Director at Lucky Ironfish, a Canadian social enterprise dedicated to preventing and addressing iron deficiency around the world. Iron deficiency and iron deficiency anemia are the world's largest nutritional challenges, impacting close to 2 billion people globally, the majority women and children. And while iron deficiency can be found in every country around the world, it is most prevalent in low middle income countries, and especially among those living in poverty and in rural areas. In India, where Lucky Ironfish works, 51% of women and 47% of children are anemic. This causes devastating negative social and health impacts. A woman who is iron deficient earns on average 15 to 20% less than her counterpart who is not. In pregnant women, iron deficiency can lead to preterm births and even death. In children, iron deficiency impairs cognitive development, which can put children behind for the rest of their lives. In recent years, the Indian government has focused on scaling up innovations to address iron deficiency across the country. yet rates still remain high, and in some states are actually increasing. There's a need for new innovative solutions to address this complex problem. Solutions like the Lucky Iron Fish that you can see here in my hands. This is an innovative cooking tool that can fortify food for a family of 5 for 5 years. The Lucky Iron Fish, or the Lucky Iron Leaf, the shape we often use in India, has a clinically proven simple solution. To use it, you simply drop it in any liquid-based food for 10 minutes, and it reduces a significant and consistent amount of iron with each use. The Lucky Iron Fish and Leaf have been independently clinically proven to be as effective as pills over a 12-month period. We've seen no reported negative side effects, including it doesn't change the taste, the smell, or the look of the food, which has allowed for our high compliance rates. Since we began selling our product in 2015, we've impacted the lives of over 850,000 individuals across 60 countries. Lives like that of Babita, who after using the Lucky Iron Leaf for 6 months, said she finally had the energy to walk her daughter to school. Lucky Iron Fish operates 2 revenue models. We sell direct to consumer via e-commerce at $40 a unit, and larger business-to-business sales, where we sell in large volumes to aid agencies, private sector, and government at a reduced price of $6 to $10 a unit. We also provide tailored training with this program. In recent years, we've scaled up our direct-to-consumer and have recently entered China. And as we look forward, we're looking to scale up business-to-business with a specific focus on India. Through the course of this Innovation Accelerator program, in collaboration with the World Food Programme Country Office in India, we developed a pilot project and we're seeking funding. We're looking for $1 million to reach 100,000 households. That'll allow us to reach 400,000 beneficiaries. And our aim is to reduce iron deficiency anemia by 50% in a district in Odisha. The ultimate goal is to see the Indian government adopt the Lucky Iron Fish and Leaf at a national level and introduce into their anemia intervention programs. So please join us and help us put a fish or a leaf into every pot. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and very well done. Very good. I mean, I really like your project. I mean, you take one fish and you can give one mother back the energy to walk her daughter to school. I think that's just amazing. So now let's see, Magana, are there any questions for Lucky Iron Fish?
Yes, there's a very curious question from Pauline. And the question is, what is Lucky Iron Fish made of?
It's made of electrolytic iron powder. So this is the same iron powder that's used to fortify food that's recommended by the WHO. So it's compressed into the fish or leaf shape. And we've designed it so that when you drop it in any food and boil it, it releases the consistent amount of iron with each use.
All right, thanks, Anne.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, no, we are moving now to the next one. And the next one is Bişer from Network Fresh from our country office in Turkey. Bişer, the microphone is yours.
Thanks. Food is wasted because of poor planning, unstable markets, or other global disruptions, such as the latest global pandemic. In Turkey, approximately 19 million tons of food is wasted. This equals to 21 million untouched meals every day. There is enough food for everyone in this world, yet millions go to bed hungry every night or facing some form of food insecurity. In the Middle East, food insecurity is directly linked to poverty, which has increased with COVID-19. Now imagine the impact of saving those meals before they go to waste. In Turkey alone, by saving 21 million meals a day, we can support 7 million people in 3 meals for a year. 7 million is the whole population of Libya or El Salvador. Yet hunger still exists. How to disrupt it? Network Fresh offers a simple technology-based solution, building on WFP's experience and network from its gastronomy projects in Turkey. Restaurants, cafes, and hotels become Network Fresh members. Network Fresh tracks their unsold surplus food via a mobile app and connects it with vulnerable households via municipal soup kitchens and food banks to reach zero waste, zero hunger. Believe it or not, it's that simple. WFP Turkey partners with a startup that offers a marketplace for unsold food at a discounted price, as a commercial activity that helps businesses to generate revenue from the unsold food before it goes to waste. Network Fresh is a platform for these businesses to donate a percentage of those meals for vulnerable households in partnership with the municipalities. It generates a multi-impact outcome, as the solution will decrease municipalities' waste management costs and instead increase their ability to provide food assistance. This will ensure sustainability. By August 2021, we aim to save 7,800 meals from 260 Network Fresh businesses in our pilot region. We will combat hunger by using untouched, unsold food and save it from going to waste. To accomplish that, Network Fresh relies on WFP for targeting and monitoring, tech startup for app development and marketing, municipality for cold storage and food engineers, Metro with its special discounts, and Sodexo with its food safety training ensures sustainability and food quality for Network Fresh businesses. To scale up, Network Fresh needs partners from hospitality, gastronomy, and logistics sectors. $600,000 for operational and promotional costs to save more than 2 million meals in 10 provinces. Reducing food waste is everybody's responsibility. So is achieving zero hunger. If the food can be saved, we will save it. Join us in reducing food waste. Together, we can combat hunger. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bishara. I think that's really a great initiative. I think we all know that there's enough food produced in the world for everybody, but still we have hunger. So I think that's really a great initiative. And just one remark to the audience. We had a couple of problems with the connectivity. That's why some of the speakers, they are turning off their cameras while they present, but now we see Bishara. So Magana, any question for Bishara?
Yes, there is. How do you solve the logistics side of unsold food to the last delivery points? And that is at a meal cost that is sustainable for WFP and governments. Over to you, Bishara.
Well, so far, we're still developing on this. Thank you very much. This is a great question. But the municipality will provide the cold storage, and please feel free to contact us more for more feedback, because we're still working on this.
Thanks, Bishara.
Okay, perfect. Then we are moving to our next picture. This is Filippo from our country office in Ethiopia, and it's the AI-powered phone survey tool. Filippo, over to you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Filippo Di Bari. Let me introduce you to the voice-to-text artificial intelligence phone survey tool. So stunting is the impaired growth and development that children experience from poor nutrition, repeated infections, and inadequate psychosocial stimulation. The harm caused by stunting is irreversible, and yet 38% of children in Ethiopia are stunted. To prevent stunting, WFP Ethiopia Country Office has been providing a highly vulnerable population fresh food vouchers so that they can purchase fruits, vegetables, and eggs. Here you can see the great results that the office has been providing highly vulnerable population fresh foods so that they can purchase fruits, vegetables, and eggs. However, the problem that the country office is facing is that with the COVID-19, the diversity data cannot be collected in the cannot be conducted in in-person surveys. To solve this challenge, we plan to develop an artificial intelligence-powered phone survey tool that can automatically dial up and interact with beneficiaries who speak traditional African languages, such as Amharic, which is common language spoken in Ethiopia, but not available on language recognition digital systems. You can see here the flow of activities of the project. Our solution can reduce the cost of conducting in-person or call center survey from $20 to $40 per survey down to $4 to $8 per phone call. Once our solution proves to be successful in Ethiopia, we can easily roll it out into many other WFP country offices facing similar challenges. By doing so, we can save $10 million, and with the saving, we can support more vulnerable populations. We have WFP colleagues from Ethiopia country office, but also in regional bureaus and WFP headquarters who are very excited about our innovative solutions and actually ready to use this tool as soon as possible. An impactful project needs to be executed by a seasoned team. In our team, we have Emma and myself with together more than 40 years of experience in humanitarian nutrition programming. Abi and Fazal are our data geniuses. If you're also excited about this project, please support us by providing resources, relevant expertise, mentorships, and partnerships, and we will do the rest. Thank you. Now I welcome your suggestions and questions.
Perfect, Filippo. Thank you very much. I really like, you're using artificial intelligence in order to collect data from beneficiaries which speak languages which are not broadly spoken. I think that's really smart on how we can leverage new technologies. Very good. Magana, any question for Filippo?
Yeah, just to add up to what you've just said, Regina, with so many local languages, how will you collect data to train the model and be able to scale?
There are already some tools available online. So we needed to practice them through a sample size nested in our programs. And we're already working on it because we have our possible distribution monitoring happening already remotely. But we want this time not to have live enumerators, but artificial intelligence so that we can expand the number of sampled beneficiaries.
Thanks, Filippo.
Okay, perfect, Filippo. Then we move to the next one. And let me just tell you something. Now is coming Daniel from Eco-Friendly Cold Storage. And the funny thing is, Daniel, he's like the first from one of the teams from Kenya. And today, the UN, the security of Kenya, they were doing their fire alarm tests. But fortunately, they stopped 15 minutes before we started our pitch event. I think that was a very good planning from our side. So Daniel, no disruption in the back end, the voice is yours.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Ndongo. I work with the Kenya Country Office of the World Food Programme. And I'm here to present our team's proposed solution to the reduction of food loss, especially in fresh foods, the eco-friendly cold storage solutions for retail markets. Food loss is a big problem globally, with 1.3 billion metric tons of food estimated to be lost, with an estimated $4 billion of this loss occurring only in sub-Saharan Africa. In Kenya alone, up to $700 million was estimated to have been lost last year due to food loss. And up to 50% of the food lost in Kenya is in the fresh food value chains. Fresh foods have a short shelf life, and therefore food loss occurs quickly. There is lower nutritional value, loss of smallholder trader incomes, especially for women who make a majority of the retail traders. As the food they buy, they cannot sell all of it. There is also lost labor and as a result, environmental degradation, because there are a lot of resources, water, especially that are used to produce food that is not consumed. To address this problem in a small way, our team proposes and has been working on eco-friendly coolers, which are simple and low cost. They are made from locally available materials, such as sand, bricks, and charcoal, which will use a noxious weed called Prosopis in the counties we operate from. The solutions are also completely off-grid and therefore can be deployed in remote locations. The solution is simple. It uses the principle of evaporative cooling, with the materials in use working to cool and lower the humidity of the product. From the solution's evaporative cooling, we are able to extend the shelf life of most fresh foods, with leafy vegetables staying fresher up to 5 days and fruits staying fresher up to 7 days. As a result, that leads to shelf life extension and quality preservation, and you can see in that comparison. Our proposed solution, we hope, would lead to reduction in food loss, retention of food quality and preservation of nutritive value in vegetables, which is lost quickly. As a result, also in those arid counties, we can ensure the availability of nutritious fresh food. And also we can assure improved income generation opportunities for women retail traders, as they can buy and using this solution can hopefully sell as much as they buy. Our plan going forward is to refine the technology and install remote retail markets, which we have in Turkana at the moment. We also intend to deploy with funding 12 new installations that will reach 600 estimated traders in new 3 counties over the next 6 months. We also intend to test different cooler sizes and materials, and also measure and improve KPIs for the technology impact and performance, and to create a value proposition. We are asking for 100,000 to refine and optimize the technology. We are also open to other investment partners to expand to new locations, and other knowledge partners, especially to test new materials and improve metrics and other knowledge areas as we learn. Our team is multidisciplinary, composed of agriculture market, supply chain, and post-harvest loss reduction technology experts, led by the University of Nairobi. We ask you to join us in a small way to contribute to the reduction of a big problem of food loss globally. Thank you very much, and open to questions.
Thank you very much, Daniel. No, very well done. I really love your solution. It's simple, low-cost technology and made from locally available materials. I think that's just amazing. Magana, what does the audience wants to know?
Yeah, so the audience is curious to know, how do you intend to make this financially sustainable, Daniel?
Initially, once we settle on the workings of the model, we are thinking of 3 ways that we can monetize the cost, by partially privatizing it, where users can pay a user charge, which is estimated on either volume or on days that they use. But you're also thinking of a rental model where you can rent for a full month and as you use as you see fit. Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel.
Okay, perfect, Daniel. So now we are moving to the last pitch before we go to the fireside chat. And, you know, this is a live event, so we really have to look for every country what is happening. Alex, she's from Aflaside, and she's currently based in Rwanda, as she had shutdowns yesterday and today. So we are turning a video for Alex. So over to you, Alex.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex and I'm a co-founder of Aflaside, the first scalable technology able to treat aflatoxin-infected maize in Africa at scale. So what is aflatoxin? Aflatoxin is a potent carcinogen that contaminates maize, a staple crop and calorie in Africa. It flourishes during post-harvest handling and is invisible to the naked human eye, making it difficult for farmers to prevent. Once it's present, it's also untreatable. It exists in many maize-based products and even certain animal products like milk. So much so that the World Health Organization estimates that over 500 million people in sub-Saharan Africa are exposed to serious long-term health effects, including liver cancer, stunting, and even acute toxicosis in children. Aflatoxin is therefore one of the major challenges to African food systems today. To keep food products safe, agro-processors in countries like Rwanda are rejecting up to 90% of local maize crop due to presence of aflatoxin above safe limits. They must import additional volume at a higher cost, making their high-quality, safe food products unaffordable to those who need them most. Local farmers are also left excluded from these higher-value formal markets, perpetuating low incomes and subsistence farming. So how can aflasites help? We are the first operation able to reduce aflatoxin once present in the maize supply chain. We do this by using specialized machines that are able to detect and remove specific infected kernels within maize batches. It is a high-capacity sorting operation placed at maize markets and will be provided as an affordable, risk-free service to farmers, traders, and agro-processors. Reducing aflatoxin infection by 90% with only 5% quantity loss, aflasite is able to close the gap between rejected suppliers and their buyers. Able to save more than 15,000 tons of local maize a year with just one location, aflasite allows processors to significantly reduce their reliance on expensive imports. Local farmers gain an assured market as a result, with a 20% increase in income. This can be reinvested into greater yields and living standards longer term. Finally, quality nutritious product, now made with local crop, can become affordable to those who need them most, often the farmers themselves. Behind aflasite is a team of logistics and maize handling experts with more than 6 years' experience bridging the gap between local maize farmers and agro-processors in Rwanda. This includes the formalization and management of local transport networks and handling of post-harvest processing in order to prevent aflatoxin. Having just completed our first exit via acquisition, we're passionate about this next step to solving aflatoxin in Africa. We will run a large-scale pilot in the coming year, targeting 15,000 tons, and we're doing so in partnership with Beulah, WFP, and IFC. But we're seeking further partnerships for the pilot and a subsequent investment of up to $1 million for rapid scale-up across Rwanda and later East Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex. I think it's an amazing project, and I really cross the fingers. Aflatoxin is such a big problem, and particularly it's an invisible problem. So if we can find a solution for that, I mean, that's amazing. So Magana, over to you.
Yes, Michael Desisti asks, does the same technology work with groundnuts, or are you just focusing on maize?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. We are primarily focusing on maize, but the same technology can work on groundnuts, and it will be one of our expansion plans in the future.
Thanks, Alex.
Okay, perfect. So audience, this was already the very first part of our pitches. And now we're going to have the fireside chat, and I'm handing over to Michael Danforth, the Regional Director of Eastern Africa. Michael, over to you.
Thanks again, Regina. And colleagues, I'd like you to close your eyes and imagine we're sitting around a big open fireplace. There's a couple of comfortable leather chairs. And beside me, I have Lauren Landers, the WFP Country Director in Nairobi in Kenya. Lauren has been a dedicated humanitarian for all of her career. She's worked with USAID. She's been with WFP over 15 years now and has held roles ranging from the Chief of Staff to Country Director in Chad. And most recently, she was the head of our Global Nutrition Division. Lauren, you are most welcome. And joining in the other very comfortable leather chair is Jonas Tesfu, who is the co-founder and CEO of Pangea Accelerator. I understand that Pangea means to inspire in Kiswahili. He has been a strong voice for African innovation for a number of years and has worked with in excess of 150 African impact startups. So Jonas, you are also most welcome to this fireside chat. Perhaps if you can both put on your, yeah, excellent, there you are, and welcome. Look, let's start with Jonas. You've been in the Kenyan innovation ecosystem now for a number of years. Why is East Africa special? Why is it that WFP's made the right decision to open our innovation hub here in East Africa?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that question, Michael, and thank you for having me in this panel and this fireside chat. As you mentioned, Pange has worked with over 150 startups and also seen a lot of changes in the ecosystem for the past years. I think the reason why Kenya has been leading has been through different technology platforms like M-Pesa and so on, but also that these technologies have been utilized locally and gotten market penetration. So I think this has enabled more technologies, more acceptance for technology. You also see a lot of more collaboration in Kenya with ASEC, the Startup Association, connecting over 40 hubs. We now start to see scale-ups like Cellulent launching in West Africa, and you also start to see Nigerian startups coming to East Africa. So we see a lot of opportunities happening in Kenya, to be honest, Michael, and it's mainly driven by the fintech sector, but there's also huge opportunities within agri-tech. Thank you.
Excellent. Good news. We seem to have made the right decision in opening. Thanks a lot. Now, Lauren, you've been now country director for Kenya for a number of months. You've arrived, you've starting to get a sense of what is possible here. There's a very strong innovation culture within your country office. Why do you think that is? And why do you think we can build on that here within the Regional Bureau?
Thank you, Michael, and really nice to be here. And I have to say, from my past job in nutrition, so nice to see so many nutrition projects coming from East Africa. I really think that it's the magic here in Kenya is the youth power. There is so many youth that are excited about innovation. They have energy to find new solutions, new ways of doing things, and they don't seem to be bound by the tradition of their parents. One of the things I figured out today is that Kenya has actually had an innovation unit in its field office before Bernard started the one in Munich. So there's a long tradition. And I think staff in Kenya have really understood that it's okay to put new ideas forward. It's okay to fail. And some of those great ideas can be adopted and adapted to help our programming. As it was already said today, I think one of the things that also helps is this real culture within the government and within the private sector in Kenya for innovation. M-Pesa, this mobile banking network, was already mentioned today. It's used by everyone in the country, and it's even exported across borders. And I think it gives Kenya a national identity for promoting innovation. And I think it encourages further innovation. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree entirely. We would be lost without M-Pesa. Jonas, you've now worked with a whole range of different partners. You've worked with UN Habitat, you've worked with Swedish CEDA, Habitat for Humanity. What is it that you feel that WFP offers, and what is it that we can bring to this innovation space?
Thank you so much, Michael, and very good question. I think there's many areas where you can bring support to the startups. I mean, first of all, you're a thought leader within this space. You also have the data network. You work with endless of governments. So I think you could be a fantastic facilitator for startups, specifically in the East Africa ecosystem. If you look at the main challenges the startups usually have, it's related to one, capacity building, where they need support with, for example, investor readiness, business planning, and so on. There's other areas where they need help with connection to private investment, specifically private funding, not soft funding. You have areas within commercialization, sales, partnerships. And then the other one may be agile policy and helping government as part of improving the pace of regulations. So I think, obviously the World Food Programme can't solve all of these problems, but I think there are many here where you are very strong. But I'm also thinking that you have partners sitting in the audience that might be part of creating a framework for creating an empowering space for agri-tech entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks. And the word that I keep hearing is partnership, partnership, partnership. And we're looking to see how we can build on this into 2021. Lauren, the key learnings that you would want to share either with WFP country officers elsewhere in the regions, or more importantly, some of these partners and stakeholders. What makes a strong innovation culture within an office?
Maybe I could give you just 4 lessons learned. I would say, first of all, we have to remember that innovation is far beyond digitalization. And so in my second point would be that what I think we're learning in a lot of WFP offices is that the most creative solutions aren't necessarily in program, but often when we can take our back office and innovate our back office or make our back office the program. So for example, innovations that we've already seen today in supply chain may be some of the most innovative things that we could do and should also think about that we may not necessarily focus on traditionally. I think you've already said it today, WFP can't do it alone. Sometimes we don't have the expertise that's really needed for the right innovations. And so we need partners. And it wouldn't make sense for us to develop an innovation in-house. So knowing who to partner with, picking your partners carefully, I think is critical. Also, partnerships works best when you assess and identify the problem together. And identify the innovative solution and implement it together. So in other words, we're not developing solutions that are then looking for a problem to solve. Also, I think it was already said today, we need to look for new sorts of problems and new ways of working. Pretty much solutions need to meet the needs of government in many countries, and it needs to involve the private sector to be sustainable. Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren. Thanks, Jonas. Very good insights. We've heard of the potential role for WFP within the region. We've heard of the importance of partnerships, of having the right culture. We need to explore new ways of working. And really, we are open to recommendations. Certainly, WFP doesn't have all the answers. I think nobody does. It's how do we come together? And as I said at the beginning, we're also open to additional support. So thanks very much to both Lauren and Jonas, and Regina, back to you from the fireside.
Perfect, Michael. Yeah, no, very interesting, inspiring discussion. There are more questions we would have loved to ask, but that was very insightful. So before we move on to the second part of the pitches, we want to share with you an insight video about the 1-week innovation bootcamp that we had with our 10 teams. So let's get started.
We had over 20 mentors and 45 plus innovators join us on this virtual bootcamp journey. This posed some challenges with regards to scheduling across over 8 different time zones, but we managed to overcome this.
Nothing replaces the atmosphere of and the connection done through an in-person event, but a virtual format allowed us to involve a broader set of experts and speakers and to really find the right mentors for the needs of the teams.
One thing we wanted to achieve by participating in the Accelerator Bootcamp was to have some kind of alignment with our host partners, WFP. And I think we've achieved we've gotten much more than what we planned for. And thanks to the immersive design process and our wonderful host, facilitator Natalie, and all the support that we got from Sarah and Jeremy and the entire team, we were able to do much more. We were able to, in fact, lay down a strategic roadmap for the next 6 months.
One of the best exercises was this vision perfect. So really designing what does an ideal project look like. It allowed us to think really big. What would scale look like? What would all those pieces need to be? How would we work with the country office? How do we make sure we've engaged all of our beneficiaries and stakeholders in a collaborative way that makes sense and allows us to scale?
My key highlight was more of the end user. I think as we think of all the problems and all solutions is what the end user needs. And that helps us now define what we need to bring into play so that we can meet the needs of this user.
Generally, how people are trying to leverage technology and innovation to drive forward new ideas in ways that I wouldn't have thought of, right? I mean, I come from a particular background. I know sort of a particular set of technologies, but I'm always amazed at how creative people are about coming up with new ideas and new approaches to things. So that's really helpful for me.
Yeah, perfect. I think that was the 1 week was a great vibe. Full of learning, full of challenges, and full of strong emotional moments, even if we were in a virtual environment. Just amazing. Okay, are you ready for the second part of the pitches? Still 5 pitches to come, and I'm very pleased to hand over to Anita from our country office in Sudan. She's going to explain us the food project Food ATM. Anita, over to you.
Hunger. We all know how it feels to be hungry before a meal. However, do you know 1 out of 11 people go to bed every day with an empty stomach? This is happening tonight as well. United Nations World Food Programme is striving to combat this exact situation. Traditionally, WFP has been providing food to the most vulnerable people by distributing bags and scoops of food. This has been ongoing for over 50 years. But, and this is a big but, don't you think there is an opportunity to improve? How are we ensuring that the right beneficiaries get the right amount of food at the time they most need it with dignity and respect in a most hygienic way? In WFP, we believe in continuously improving our processes. We designed a solution that keeps the beneficiary at the center. The Food ATM. It's like a money ATM, but for food. Let me explain it to you. It has 2 parts. Number 1. It uses iris to uniquely identify a single beneficiary. When the beneficiary comes to the distribution site, she is uniquely identified and the correct food allocation for the month is registered on the card. Number 2, the WFP partner on the ground ensures that the food ATMs are always full, operational and hygienic. The beneficiary now has the flexibility to come as frequently as needed and not just on a specific day of the month. She can now withdraw a specific amount she needs and not necessarily the full monthly ration, which can be difficult to transport and store. Why not we just give cash? Why food, right? There are war-stricken countries, famine-beaten places with broken supply chains and no access to the markets in this world today. These are the places where Food ATM will be a game changer, places where people need food more than they need money. We are an enthusiastic team with an adding up experience of close to 60 years responding to emergencies, a combination of business experts from logistics and technology experts from ICT. Today, we are ready to pilot the solution in 2 refugee camps in Sudan. In order to scale to 30 camps, reaching 1 million beneficiaries, we would need $2.5 million in the next 2 years. I believe that everyone has a right to fulfill the basic need of hunger. I believe that no one should die because of no food. And yes, I believe everybody should be treated with dignity and respect. Do you believe in this too? Come, be part of the solution that allows us to reach zero hunger faster, in a more efficient and accountable manner. Give us a hand in connecting us to the networks of experts in this industry. Hunger, we are all coming to end you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Anita. Very well done. I like this evolution on how WFP is giving or is distributing food to beneficiaries. Very user-centric, very reliable. It's just amazing. Huh? So Magana, what does the audience want to know?
Yeah, so the audience is curious to know, how do you keep the food fresh in the ATM, Anita?
That's a good question. As an organization, WFP, running for last 60 years now, is an expert in keeping and maintaining the fresh food, infesting and deinfesting, disinfecting, etc. We are more concentrating on the distribution part of the food as an innovation, apart from the storage of the food. Thank you.
Thanks, Anita.
Okay, perfect. So we are going on our journey now to Bangladesh. We have Pete from Earn Money by Eating Healthy, Country Office, Bangladesh. Pete, over to you.
Thank you, Regina.
We can see you, Pete. Go ahead.
Yeah, now I'm trying to get the controls. So Tui, if you can take over. Next slide. Okay, I'm Pete. I'm working with WFP in Bangladesh. I'd like to discuss with you today how vulnerable, food insecure people can earn money by eating healthy. Next slide. In Bangladesh, 1 in 5 persons is covered by one or other safety net. Increasingly, these safety nets are giving people a stipend in cash. That's great, but it also means that the cash has to compete with many other priorities when it comes to buying food, so that compromises are made. Next slide. Hence, how do we turn cash into food, the right food? Next slide. That is important when we see that 60% of children are born underweight, 5 million children are malnourished, non-communicable diseases like diabetes or cardiovascular diseases are on the rise. And all this is linked to proper nutrition and eating the right food. Next slide. We think we have a solution. Next slide. A solution based on cashback combined with behavior change communication. Next slide. How does it work? In 2 settlements in Dhaka, with funding from USAID, we identified 30 shops that make available 15 healthy food commodities, mainly fresh vegetables, but also eggs, fortified rice, and oil. We identified 7,500 needy households who are given a monthly stipend, sent to them as mobile cash. We then give them messages on which food to eat, how to prepare it, and so on. In the shops then, the beneficiaries show the QR code on the project card, which is read by a smartphone, and all their transactions is registered and uploaded into the cloud. At the end of the month, we can then see how much of the stipend each beneficiary has spent on healthy food. So next month, together with the stipend, the beneficiary then gets an additional rebate, a cashback, representing a percentage of their purchase of the healthy food in the previous month. Next slide. What have we learned? Many things. Most of all, that there is so much more to learn. We see that beneficiaries buy and consume the food and that communication is important. The system generates a lot of data, which we can analyze and use to improve the program. So where do we want to go from now? Well, the current trial project runs until the middle of next year. By then, we will have finalized an agreement with the Ministry of Women and Children Affairs to run a full pilot within one of their safety net programs, partially using government money. We would, however, still need some additional funding to run the project, pay the cash back, and set up a research component to provide data to the government to see how this approach can indeed make their safety nets more efficient. For all this, we would ideally need around $3 million US. Next slide. This is your Innovation Accelerator team. Only 6 people, but trust me, there's many, many more of WFP, BRAC, our NGO partner, and the different ministries we work with, who are working behind the scenes to make this a success. Next slide. Thank you. We believe this project has a lot of potential, and we look forward to discuss this with you. Thank you. Next slide.
Thank you very much, Pete. I think that's very smart. I mean, how can we incentivize beneficiaries in order to change the purchasing and consumption behavior towards more healthy food? I think that's really great. So I look forward to the results of your pilot. Magana, any question for Pete?
Yes, there is. Is there a system in place to make sure that the person showing the QR code is the correct beneficiary?
Well, actually, it doesn't matter, okay? There's no money on the card. It's just a QR code. The QR code is linked to the person that gets the monthly stipend. So if I let somebody else buy with my card, I'm actually being smart and I get the additional fee, the additional money on my account. We can, however, work also with biometrics if we want to. Technology is there. The app was developed for our refugee response in Cox's Bazar, and there we use biometrics. So we could use it if we want to. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete.
Okay, perfect. Very interesting. Okay, now we are moving to the second team that we have from Kenya. And just to tell one anecdote, when we had a dry run today, there was some noise in the background of Emma, and she told me this is the noise of the ocean. Emma, I really would love to have the problems that you have. Over to you.
I'm so sorry, Regina, for rubbing that in. I know many people are in colder countries than ours. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Emma Caddy, and I'm the CEO of Tiny Totos, a Kenyan social enterprise. I'll be talking to you about how Tiny Totos is working with trusted community daycares to solve Africa's child malnutrition crisis. Cheap nutrition is incredibly expensive. Though global malnutrition has fallen worldwide, in Africa, it has risen over the past 20 years. If a child does not receive healthy nutrition before age 5, they will likely underperform for the rest of their lives. Over 30% of Africa's children are malnourished, creating an enormous cost to the continent. Malnutrition is now most severe amongst children in cities. Rapid, unplanned urbanization has wiped out the urban advantage. Struggling with limited income, access, and knowledge, how can we encourage lowly paid and educated mothers to prioritize healthy, diversified diets for their children? Tiny Toto's solution is to work with community-based daycares who are paid by mothers to look after their children when they are out at work. In Nairobi, over 4,000 informal daycares care for 250,000 preschoolers every day. These trusted daycares wield enormous influence over mothers who depend on their service to earn a living. Tiny Toto's approach is to treat community babysitters as businesswomen, not beneficiaries. We help transform their substandard childcare through training, capital, and network, helping them earn more money. As their businesses grow, so does their ability to influence their clients, including encouraging mothers to buy the healthy, nutritious meals we teach them to prepare for children in their care. A great example of the transformative power of informal childcare entrepreneurs is provided by Esther. Esther became a Tiny Toto's partner in 2015 when she was running a daycare out of a dingy room, earning only $150 a month and serving no meals. Esther, who is partially disabled, had little self-belief or knowledge of how to run her daycare business. 5 years later, Esther runs a bustling, profitable daycare, employing several helpers and serving 3 times as many children as before. She now makes half her revenue from selling nutritious food, meals which her satisfied customers willingly pay for. Our work has shown the enormous potential of the informal daycare market to transform itself and the communities it supports with a little helping hand. Daycare owners earn more, mothers can focus on their jobs with peace of mind, and vulnerable children can look forward to healthy futures of their own. Our aim is to consolidate and replicate our network of trusted and self-sustaining daycares in Kenya and throughout the region. To do this, we need 2.1 million in grant, convertible grant, and equity to invest in systems of scale. We have a third of this amount committed already. Many thanks for listening. I'll be happy to answer any questions you now might have.
Thank you very much, Emma. Very well done. I really love what you were saying. We treat daycares as businesses and not beneficiaries. I think that's really a new professional approach. Magana, what is the question for Tiny Totos?
So Emma, how do you ensure and monitor the quality of the service provided by the daycare centers?
So we do this in 3 ways: directly from our team, through community health volunteers who are working with our team and do a lot of site assessments on the ground, through peer-to-peer management. There's monthly meetings between the daycares, so there's a lot of self-monitoring. And we also do digital reporting and mobile reporting as well.
Thank you, Emma.
Okay, no, that's very interesting. Okay, perfect. Then let's move to the next pitch. And this is Faisa from our emergency telecommunications cluster. And the project is Flying Cow.
Thank you, Regina. Before I start, I would actually like you all to imagine a time when you were away from your home, and just when you wanted to make that one phone call, you realized that, oops, I don't have my phone on you. Do you remember the idea when you were actually had a phone but no connectivity? So what I'm talking about is a problem of connectivity, which is linked to a very specific problem in the humanitarian disasters, directly linked with humanitarian assistance. As you can see in this photo, this is Cyclone Adai. The problem of connectivity in the first 72 hours of humanitarian disaster is linked precariously with the lives of people who have just witnessed and survived a disaster. This is the time when access to internet connectivity acts as a lifeline for people, because what it matters most is they don't only need connectivity to call their family or friends, but also ask for help, find the answers of their most pressing needs, but also to be safe and ensure well-being for their own self and their loved ones. On the side of humanitarians, it's also very critical. Why? Because as responders, we want to know where people are moving, how they are going around, what are the most pressing needs, and how can we solve their most pressing needs in terms of humanitarian assistance. So how do we solve this problem? The solution which we're proposing is named as Flying Cow. COW, cow, is actually an abbreviation for connectivity on wings, which is actually a drone solution, as you can see in this photo, for providing connectivity to disaster-affected communities in first 24 hours. Cow is a tethered drone packed in a suitcase, really light, very mobile, and it actually is so quickly to be set up that it could be really a game changer. So why a game changer? Because of 2 reasons. One, in the timing for setting up, and secondly, the coverage area. In terms of timing, presently it takes around 5 days to connect around 200 to 500 people, which are usually humanitarians, in the first 36 hours after a disaster. Whereas with a Flying Cow, we can actually connect 3,000 people in less than a day. In terms of coverage area, it can cover an area of around 12 square kilometers, which means if you translate it into the population density of Port-au-Prince, Haiti, makes around 320,000 people. So where are we now with Flying Cow? We have done a successful pilot of running a Flying Cow testing for 24 hours. And what we want to do is to take it to 2 emergency-like high-risk country situations and test it for a week. What do we want to do with these 2 test pilots is to not only look at the technical side of the solution, but also the human angle of the solution. We also want to build the capacity in the local country offices. So when the next disaster happens, we are ready. And for that, we need $120,000 to fund these 2 pilots next year. This test will help us to set up the groundwork at these high-risk countries that we are ready to deploy before a next cyclone hits, and before a disaster disrupts people's life-saving access to connectivity. Thank you very much, and I'm happy if there are any questions.
Thank you very much, Faiza. I think it's really interesting what you're saying, that it can become a game changer in a humanitarian crisis. I mean, if you can connect more than 3,000 people in less than a day, that's just amazing. So I really cross my fingers. And Magana, what does the audience want to know?
How long does it take to deploy your solution, Faiza?
Actually, that's the most interesting thing. We are talking hours after disaster happens. So the solution actually means that it's ready to be in a backpack of a person. So once the person lands with the backpack, it takes less than a day.
Thanks, Faiza.
Wow, that's very impressive. Great. And now we are coming to our last picture. And this is Sri from Kenya as well, Kusa 1. So Sri, the microphone is yours.
Hi, thanks, Regina. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sri, the founder of Kusa 1, a social enterprise from Kenya. Today, I would like to share with you the story of Lena. Lena is a 28-year-old. Sorry, I'm struggling. Hi, so Lena is a 28-year-old graduate from rural Kenya. Her dreams of a bright future were shattered when she found herself unemployed despite having a degree at hand. She tried many side hustles but failed miserably. Her story, like millions of other youth, ended up in lost capital, increased debt, and shattered dreams. In her village, Joro, majority of the households depend on subsistence farming. An average farmer is about 60-year-old and lacks access to quality inputs, credit, and markets. Lena's family were convinced that there is no future in farming and were looking forward to her to help find new ways to survive the next generation. Private sector service providers, on the other hand, have products or services to offer to these farmers, but find it extremely hard and expensive to reach them, convince them, and sell them. Lena's life changed when she enrolled into Kusa Academy. Through the Kusa digital platform, Lena could learn about the business of farming with her mentors, connect with about 200 farmers and service providers, and grow as a collective. The specially designed backpacks allowed Lena to establish trust and respect with her farmers by training them on good agriculture practices, even in remote locations with no power and internet access. To just share with you a small device as small as this, the size of my palm, like a Wi-Fi router at your home, she's now able to engage her cohort of farmers and giving them help on agriculture practices and help them to connect to service providers. The Kusa digital marketplace helped Lena to access pre-negotiated deals for quality inputs, credit, and markets for her network and sustain with the commissions. The marketplace nurtures accountable relationships amongst the ecosystem actors to create sustainable businesses. Within 2 years, Lena managed to set up a shop, employed 3 youth from her village, and doubled her income. She is now a Mandela Washington Fellow. Her remarkable journey is inspiring thousands of youth across the continent. Our three-pronged approach for systems change, scale, and sustainability is to build individual capacities of rural entrepreneurs like Lena, provide collective bargaining power for the communities, and create a multiplier effect to drive economies of scale and a win-win-win proposition to our network members. Working closely with the private, public, and philanthropy partners, our model is scaling exponentially. To date, we have impacted 500,000 farmers and created 3,000 sustainable rural businesses like Lena across 3 countries, covering 10 of the 17 UN SDGs. We are on a mission as KUZA to create 50,000 entrepreneurs like Lena by 2030 to build the world's largest sustainable network of 10 million smallholder farmers. With the current pace at which we are growing, we are in the right direction. And we have created a vibrant partner ecosystem of private sector partners in Kenya. To sustain this momentum, we are looking for a matching grant of $1 million to impact 1 million rural lives. That's $1 per life. Join us on our journey to support these communities to learn, connect, and grow at scale. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sri. I mean, I really love your project, how you enable the youth to become an agripreneur and then they help the traditional farmers. That's just amazing. So Magana, the last question.
Yeah, the last time I speak. So what are the types of rural businesses you are creating, Sri?
Yeah, actually, when we empower this rural youth as entrepreneurs, they are the ones who are coming out with creative ideas. If I look back out of a cohort of 3,200 entrepreneurs, majority of them are setting up shops. Some of them are becoming, spraying as a service. They are spraying pesticides, and that there's a service that they offer. And some of them are focusing on aggregation of the produce as it comes out. Some are setting up nursery businesses. Some are becoming livestock entrepreneurs, mechanization. So it's a cohort of about more than 14 different types of businesses that even we never thought of. These are the entrepreneurs coming out and starting up on their own. And that's very encouraging.
Thank you very much, Sri.
Thank you very much, Sri. Okay, so I'm sure that a lot of you are already wondering how you can get connected with the teams. Here you have an overview of the 10 teams, and with each of the pictures, we are gonna to share a link in the chat. And there you can, let's say, write your mail address, which of the teams you would like to be connected. And we making sure that we, let's say, connect the two of you. So feel free to write whatever you want to do. And now, because we're at the end of our journey today, and I really would like to say a massive thank you on the first hand to the project teams and the pitchers. Incredible work that you have delivered. I really loved all the pitches that we have seen today. The work you did, I know it was hard, it was challenging, but it was just amazing. So I really would like to thank you. And on top of that, I also would like to thank you to the organization team who set up the bootcamp, run the bootcamp, organized the pitch event. And particularly, I would like to thank Sarah and Jeremy, Ken, Linda, and Luciana, Tui, Maya, Joanna, Magana, and Waihaki. And I also would like to thank our mentors and speakers. Without their help, we couldn't do this kind of activities. And here I would like to name Google, Sealed Air, and Singularity University. Thank you very much for all your help. Yes, and last but not least, if you would like to stay connected with us, here you will find all the contact details. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on LinkedIn. There's amazing content there, which our comms team publishes, how to disrupt hunger, any new innovation ideas. Yes, please follow us. And that's the moment for me to say goodbye. Thank you very much for being with us. It was great to have you here. And thank you very much to the teams and the pitchers. Goodbye.